In the vast emptiness of the Pacific Ocean in 1944, steel giants prowled beneath tropical skies. Aircraft carriers, destroyers, and submarines moved like chess pieces across thousands of miles of water. Empires were collapsing. Nations were fighting for survival. And in the middle of it all, one small American warship would achieve something no vessel before or since has ever matched. This is the story of USS England. Between May 19th and May 31st, 1944, in just 12 relentless days, this modest destroyer escort sank 6 Japanese submarines. Not 6 over a career, not 6 in a year, 6 in less than 2 weeks. And it began not with gunfire, but with silence. The hidden war of codes. Far from the front lines, in a plain building at Pearl Harbor, American cryptanalysts were fighting a different kind of battle. The Fleet Radio Unit Pacific, successor to the legendary Station Hypo, intercepted a Japanese transmission. The message seemed routine, a submarine reporting its expected arrival near Bougainville in the Solomon Islands. But American codebreakers had spent years unraveling Japan's naval cipher, JN-25. What they saw was not routine. It was opportunity. Within hours, the decrypted intelligence was quietly passed to naval commanders. Extreme secrecy surrounded the information. If Japan realized their codes were broken, the advantage would vanish overnight. A hunter-killer group was ordered to sea. The hunters assemble. Commander Hamilton Haynes formed a 3-ship task group from Escort Division 39, USS George, USS Raby, USS England. All were Buckley-class destroyer escorts, smaller than fleet destroyers, built quickly in American shipyards. They weren't glamorous, they weren't famous, but they were built to hunt submarines. USS England carried a powerful new weapon, the Hedgehog anti-submarine mortar. Unlike traditional depth charges, Hedgehog bombs only exploded on contact. If they missed, there was no explosion, and sonar contact was never lost. It was revolutionary. On May 18, 1944, the 3 ships sailed from the Solomon Islands. They were heading straight toward a Japanese submarine picket line known as the NA Line. 7 submarines stretched across the Pacific, forming a scouting barrier to detect American carrier forces. Japan was preparing for Operation Ago, the decisive battle they hoped would stop the U.S. advance. They never saw what was coming. The first kill, I-116. On May 19th, an Allied PBY Catalina spotted the Japanese submarine I-116 on the surface north of Bougainville. I-116 was no ordinary submarine. She had launched one of the midget submarines at Pearl Harbor in 1941. She had attacked British forces in Madagascar. She had survived years of war. Now she was carrying rice to starving Japanese troops. USS England gained sonar contact. The hunt began. For over an hour, I-116 zigzagged, dove deep, changed speeds, using every evasion technique known to submarine commanders. England fired Hedgehog salvo after salvo. Miss, miss. One hit, but not enough. Finally, on the 5th attack, England adjusted perfectly. Multiple explosions erupted beneath the sea. 20 minutes later, oil and debris rose to the surface. Wood fragments, cork insulation, even rice bags. I-116 was gone. 107 men perished. It was only the beginning. The NA line collapses. Over the next days, the pattern repeated. RO-106 was caught on the surface at night. Radar illuminated her in a blinding beam of light. She dove, but England's Hedgehog found its mark. 36 minutes, submarine destroyed. The next day, RO-104 fought desperately for over 2 hours, using sonar jamming techniques and violent maneuvers. England studied her patterns. On the final run, up to 12 projectiles struck. RO-104 imploded beneath the sea. Then came RO-116, new, inexperienced. She lasted less than an hour. Then RO-108, a veteran that had previously sunk the American destroyer USS Henley. England needed only one attack. Multiple hits, instant destruction. By now, Japanese commanders were alarmed. Radio warnings were sent to remaining submarines. Some escaped, but one remained. The final hunt, RO-105. RO-105 either never received the warning or chose to stay. On the night of May 30th, American ships gained contact. The battle lasted through darkness into dawn. Depth charges exploded. Hedgehogs splashed into the sea. The submarine maneuvered violently. At one point, after repeated failed attacks, Commander Haynes transmitted the now legendary message, "Oh hell, go ahead, England." At 7:36 a.m., England fired. This time, the explosion was colossal. Secondary detonations followed, RO-105's own torpedoes igniting. A column of water shot hundreds of feet into the air. When it settled, nothing remained but oil and wreckage. 6 submarines in 12 days, a record never equaled. The strategic shockwave. The destruction of the NA line had consequences far beyond the sinking of submarines. Japanese commanders misinterpreted the losses. They assumed a large American fleet had already passed through the area toward the wrong objective. They repositioned forces, they delayed, and when the United States invaded Saipan on June 15, 1944, Japan's fleet was out of position. Days later, at the Battle of the Philippine Sea, American forces destroyed Japanese naval aviation in what became known as the Marianas Turkey Shoot. The path to Japan's home islands was open. USS England's victories helped shape that outcome. A name that would live on. Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Ernest J. King sent a message. They'll always be in England in the United States Navy. The ship had been named after Ensign John C. England, who died at Pearl Harbor after returning repeatedly into the sinking USS Oklahoma to rescue trapped sailors. His courage lived on through the crew who bore his ship's name. USS England received the Presidential Unit Citation. Lieutenant Commander Walton Pendleton earned the Navy Cross. But perhaps the greatest honor was simpler. No other warship in history has ever matched her. 12 days, 6 submarines. One small ship that changed naval warfare forever.